Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and this time we are looking at the Toshu Shitogami, or white paper number 1 Gyuto 210mm knife. This line of knives has a core steel of Shitogami, or white paper number 1 reactive carbon steel. The heat treat's about 60 to 61 Rockwell on that core steel. The construction, and these are a little unusual, you don't see these a lot on the site, but they're a nice combination. They're Yo, or Western handled, with a stainless steel cladding over the top of a Shitogami number 1. So it's a nice combination. So again, the construction is a softer stainless steel cladding on each side of that core steel for a 3-layer sandwich. And the weight is about 6.5 ounces, or 186 grams. The blade length is right at 210, about 8 1/4 inches on the edge. And the overall knife is about 13.1 inches. The spine thickness, these are nice and thin, and so it's about 1.7 millimeters thinness or thickness above the back of the blade, and then it pretty much stays that way until you hit the grind of the knife up here towards the tip, where the tip thins out really well. The blade height is about 45.3 millimeter on this, so it's not a super tall 210, but it's kind of in that middle area. The handle is kind of a standard black pack of wood, which is a stabilized wood handle with good fit and finish. And it's got a nicely done bolster that I think is pinned and brazed as well. And so it's nice, smooth transition in the blade on top, bottom, and left and right. It's a nice kind of elegant feel to it. And the fit and finish is very, very good on the handle. This handle is just a slightly blockier and just a touch bigger than, let's say, the Kanehide TK 210. I just handled that for a different video. And this one's just ever so slightly bigger, but just a touch blockier. Doesn't quite have the roundness on it at the other handle. Still kind of a good medium size, but just slightly more meaty for comparison's sake. Otherwise, these are pretty similar in dimensions. The balance point on this is right there, just in front of the bolster. Let's take a close-up look at the blade. So we have embossed logo with the labeled Super Professional. Not just professional, Super Professional. Toshu, and you've got a logo there. And you can see the machine finish on the blade. It's got a nice finish on it. And you can really see the convex. This has a great convex to it on both sides of the blade. It's a touch flatter on the left side versus this is the right side of the blade as you're holding it. But it's just when you pull your fingers down from spine to edge, it really feels nice. And it does have pretty decent food release. Again, considering the thinness of the knife, they did an excellent job with the material thickness that they had, moving it down to the edge. This does have a polished area on it towards the edge of the knife that's ground down and polished. It's not a bevel, but it's ground down and to take it towards the edge, and it's done on both sides of the blade, similar to some of the Kohetsu knives that I see. You can see the core steel there does have a patina on it. From me using it and testing this one out, I tested out the 210, not the 240. Speaking of that, just to make you aware, which I will mention in the 240 video, the 210 and 240 are quite different knives in this line, which is not always the case. The 240 has got a fairly amount thicker blade, so the blade is quite a jump in thickness, and it's a heavier knife, and it's got much more of a weight-forward weight balance, and so they handle quite differently. It's not just a little bit larger, it's quite a bit thicker as well. Not bad or good, it's just different. So fit and finish on this is quite good. It's a little bit sharp right here at the back of the blade. If it were me, I'd probably put a little sandpaper on that. The spine is done nicely. The box edge was okay. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Had a bit of a burr on it. I went ahead and sharpened it, and being Shitogami number 1, it sharpened up beautifully. Took a screaming sharp edge, which it just blows through stuff. So this is a nice performing knife. The tip goes through products well, like onions, and I didn't put it on a ton of different stuff, but everything I put it on, it did really, really well. It's a nice knife to handle. Let's look at the profile on it. It's enjoyable to use. Like I said, it goes through product very, very well. It's pretty darn thin towards the edge. The profile looks like this. So it kind of flows into a bit of a stop at the very back of the blade. So a little bit of a flat spot towards the back, and then quite a bit of belly coming all the way up towards the tip. And I start digging the tip in about right there. But it flows nicely, but it does have a bit of a stop at the back. So this should be a pretty good all-around style profile for you. And again, a good performing knife, super easy to sharpen. Shitogami #1 reactive carbon steel with stainless cladding for lower maintenance. So there you have a nice offering from Chef Knives To Go, the Toshu Shitogami #1 Gyuto 240mm knife.